There's a forested valley on the other side of the city, once teeming with wildlife. It's now dead. The royal delegations arrived here that way.
I know. That's why we went around. What exactly killed the Vrans?
As the years went by and the climate turned colder, the Vrans had less and less food. Their hunters descended to the lowlands. They tried to save themselves, building an aqueduct and sewers that rivaled today's. But it grew colder, and the canals remained frozen for most of the year. When the elves arrived, they encountered only ghosts.
We're in Lochmuin.
We're on the fringes somewhere. We should find what we came for nearer the main quarters.
Let's go.
Be.
Die, bled dwarf!
They gagged Philippa in the nick of time. She almost cast a spell. Rotting in the Redanian dungeon now in special shackles.
Radovid's right to show the witches their place.
I wonder what they'll do to her. Either the executioner or the monsters will have their fun. They say Logmuin's dungeons are full of scum of all kinds.
No idea what they locked her up for, but every sorceress is guilty of something.
True enough. Not likely to see anyone weeping for her.
A dungeon befits Philippa Eilhart very well, though gallows would be even better.
If they killed her, you can forget about healing Saskia.
They must guard her as heavily as the Emperor's bedchamber. We'll not get in there.
I'm in no hurry to visit the Emperor's bedchamber, but we've got to get into the dungeon.
Look for a passage through the sewers. I'll locate Eilhart's quarters. If she didn't expect to be arrested, I may find something interesting there.
I can think of a quicker way into the dungeon than the sewers. I just need to get arrested.
They'll take your weapons and put you in shackles. Though there is some chance you'll wind up in Philippa's cell.
I'll manage. Wandering through the tunnels would take too much time.
Let's go then.
I'll find Philippa. You search her quarters.
Right. We learned a lot the last time we browsed through her things. Vafail, Gwynblade.
Wonder how many more will turn up. My medallion.
I knew we'd meet again.
Not you.
Silgrat doesn't forget humiliation.
What do you want?
You won't win this time. All of Edern will know the power of Silgrat's fist. Stand and fight. Be off! Oh, the fucking shame. Yes?
I guess you're here about the war with Kedwin.
They wouldn't let us near Natalis, and Radovid refuses an audience. Scandalous. The mages drone on about their coven of advisors, but even they don't take us seriously. Perhaps the prince could get something, but I'm not certain they'll let him into the talks. Henselt protested, and the others are too cowardly to stand up to him. As a result, we are not officially here.
Henselt can't openly interfere in your matters.
Who's to stop him? He claims the prince is preparing to set a dangerous precedent by eradicating serfdom.
Terrible crime. Next thing you know, he'll do away with court protocol. The mages will be overjoyed if you sign their treaty. Any idea who'd be the advisor in Vengerberg?
They insist on appointing the advisors themselves, though I doubt Saskia will accept that.
Anything can happen.
That lass will allow no one to control her. I've been observing her. She's a splendid commander.
Making her even more dangerous if anyone manages to manipulate her.
I'm not sure I understand.
Just thinking aloud.
I don't believe you killed Foltest.
I didn't.
But a bounty is a bounty. I'm sure you understand. As a professional. It's nothing personal.
One more windbag.
Onward! Think of the bounty! He's but one man, damn it! He's but one man, damn it!
Now you tell me. I don't work with sorceresses. This is no job for me.
What's going on? Are you about to fight?
The Conclave has forbidden dueling.
You can't just back out. We agreed. We have commitments to fulfill.
You did take an advance on your fee.
And I'm keeping it. Don't you follow me.
Witcher Geralt. A sight for sore eyes you are. May we speak?
Didn't expect to see you again. Certainly not here.
Loch Muin is an intriguing place.
For scientists especially.
We've mounted a small expedition and require protection.
What kind of expedition are we talking about?
We have irrefutable evidence that Ebder Henna's laboratory is located in Loch Muin.
We need an armed man to protect us from the filth in the sewers. They're infested with monsters.
The details you'll get from our employer.
A sorceress.
I know a thing or two about monsters, and about sorceresses. What's this one's name?
I'm sorry, but we cannot disclose her name until you agree to join us.
Nice talking to you then.
Cynthia! Her name is Cynthia!
What was Der Hanna doing in this city?
Everyone's heard of his 1,000 genie curse, but few know that he also had a penchant for the history of Loch Muin. He was particularly interested in the Vrans and their ultimate decline as a civilization. In his memoirs, he mentions that he left his archive here. That's how we pinpointed the location of his laboratory.
You did?
The sorceress did, in point of fact.
But we're the ones who know everything about Ebder Henna.
I wrote my dissertation about the man. To arrive at the laboratory, we must pass through the sewers.
Remember that potion you gave me back in Flotsam?
Of course. How's the experiment going? Noticed any side effects?
Or peculiar interactions with other potions?
Yeah, every time I mix it with vodka, my tongue gets hairy. All right, I'm willing to help.
You won't regret it.
Where do we start?
We've gained access to an ancient crypt where mages were laid to rest. It's beneath that tower. Our companions await us there.
Gale.
We've broken through in the right spot.
Quiet.
Stand ready. He killed Vanamar.
And many other mages. I know who he is, Cynthia.
In the same city as Philippa, and you didn't even bother to change your name. That takes balls.
Philippa's out of the picture. She's been arrested.
And I was supposed to die, but I didn't. Grave error.
I'll make you a deal.
You don't get it. You turned Triss into a cold stone. I'm having a hard time trying to figure out why I shouldn't turn you into a cold corpse.
She is alive and well. We decompressed her successfully. There were no complications.
And the interrogation after she was decompressed? Because you did interrogate her.
I personally supervised it. We presented the tools, gave her a few bruises, and that sufficed to get her to talk.
Tools? A few bruises? You really don't want to leave this crypt alive.
If we're to die, we'll do so proudly, serving the Emperor. But I think that unlikely. Contrary to what they say, you're no murderer. Triss told me so.
Got anything else to tell me?
Just one thing. I've supervised dozens of interrogations. All subjects talk sooner or later. That's an old truth. Though some resist longer than others. Triss Merigold did not resist at all. She grew pale at the mere sight of the saws, hooks and needles. She was prepared to talk before the interrogation began.
What did she tell you?
I will not betray the Emperor.
What did Triss tell you?
Please.
Well, another mage. What did she tell you?
I will not betray the Emperor.
I'm no good at interrogating others. Tell me, or I'll cut your hands off.
The Lodge of Sorceresses. We know its members. Margarita Loantil, Francesca Findabert, Fringilla Vigo.
Skip it. I'm not interested.
The assassinations of the kings. Philippa and Sheila de Thansarville commissioned them.
What else?
I don't know anymore. The subject needed to recover after the first session.
How can I get into the Nilfgaardian camp?
There's one entrance. Beyond it, a long, heavily guarded corridor. You can't hope to sneak in. Renwald Matson chose the spot specifically to avoid being surprised.
Where are you holding Triss?
At the back of the camp, beneath a ruined building.
You're gonna help me free her?
Not likely. You're better off killing me now. You've no idea what the Emperor's intelligence apparatus does to turncoats.
Why are you here?
We suspect Der Henner's laboratory may contain documents and books that could be useful to the Imperial Academy of Science.
That wasn't even close to funny. You're lying.
We don't know what's inside. Der Henner was a talented man, but also an eccentric.
What do you hope to find?
That's confidential. I cannot tell you. Regardless, we need your help. The laboratory lies beneath the Redanian camp, which we cannot penetrate above ground. We want to get there through the sewers, but can't manage it without a capable swordsman.
Any deals we make will not be on your terms.
Hear me out.
So be it.
Witcher, help me complete my mission. Help me open Der Henner's laboratory.
What'll you give me?
I've read the intelligence reports. I know your past. There are things in there, important things you don't remember.
I could force you to tell me.
I don't think so. Will you torture me? We both know you couldn't.
Fine. I'll help you open the laboratory.
In exchange, I'll tell you all I can. Do we have a deal?
Yeah. One more thing.
We made a deal.
I'm even faster with my sword. No tricks.
Are we likely to encounter drowners? Or a related species? Perhaps other monsters?
That is how this world's built. Sewers are infested with monsters. Damn. That is how this world's built. Sewers are infested with monsters. Ghouls! Now it's just run.
I'm impressed.
I've kept my end of the bargain. I hope you'll keep yours.
Be sure of it.
I'm no rat to run around sewers. What we're looking for, anyway? Some graves, I heard.
Graves? So maybe there is something in this for us.
Shut your traps. Want the sergeant to hear? You're in deep shite.
We've got company.
Redanian bastards.
The entrance must be somewhere here.
If our experts are to be trusted, Der Henner dabbled in illusions, among other things.
He also experimented heavily with golems.
Golems with the power of speech, supposedly. They knew nothing of poetry, but...
Will you two shut up?
Yes, it's an illusion. I found a weak spot. Stand back. Later Elorn, Lisa Elorn, later dear!
At times I'm caught. You can get my kind of feat. Though I have no needles, they say I am piercing. What am I?
Careful with the answer. It could be a trap.
Typical of Der Henner. He was a genius with a penchant for mischievous jokes, like a child.
So a couple of adults, purported experts, should have no problem solving this.
Indeed, it's trivial. The answer is pain.
Incorrect.
No! Impossible! So many years of research together. Why did we ever embark on this? Imagine the books, the potions. My poor friend. Imagine the books, the potions. My poor friend.
Capable of kindness and cruelty, I take victims when I sour. I can be on your side or wrong you. I bring gifts though you already have me.
Fate.
Correct.
It's going rather well so far.
Not for for everybody. Someone's been here recently.
Well, well, the competition's here. Kill them!
They must have descended straight from their quarter.
Bleda Nordling.
Another Guardian. Later and Lorn. It's reacting to my spell.
A group of travelers wandering through the dark. 3 guides above them, so 3 were marked. At night they trailed a drake serpentine and a silver lady shining and fine. If only her visage she would deign to unfold. By day they followed a mountain vault, its riches untold.
Did I hear someone complain about the riddles being too easy?
Let's think this through. There are 9 alcoves, a fresco in each. That's 3 groups of 3 frescoes.
The riddle mentions 3 guides above the travelers. We must examine the frescoes, seek answers there.
I'll advise you about the riddle, but I will not take part in disarming the device. I've got a bad feeling about this.
I wager we have a few more of death.
A group.
What do you think of the first verse?
I would say it describes a serpentine dragon swallowing its own tail, which represents infinity and thus time. The hourglass likewise symbolizes time. In this case, the time of the traveler's journey.
I believe it's the dragon constellation. It would be visible at night. What's more, sources on alchemy invariably portray dragons as winged, and as an accomplished alchemist, Dehenna would also be a competent astrologer. The verse must refer to the constellation.
In alchemy, the winged serpentine dragon represents prime matter, an essential component in the process of alchemical transformation. The verse seems to indicate the allegory illustrating that transformation.
Can someone remind me how...
The first
What do you think of the...
I would...
In
Can someone
The first...
I think it's the hourglass.
I shall take that one.
What do you think of the second verse?
To my mind, it speaks of the white rose, symbol of the Order of the Flaming Rose. You see, the fresco itself resembles a coat of arms, and in heraldry silver is rendered as white. So the Silver Lady and White Rose are one and the same. I think it describes the full moon. In alchemy, the moon represents both silver as a metal and the feminine element.
The order remains largely unknown in the south, so the White Rose seems unlikely. Every Nilfgaardian, on the other hand, has heard of the Imperial Nausicaa Brigade, which has the Death's Head as its symbol. The brigade's name is female, and they say death follows the unit. So the Silver Lady could very well be Nausicaa or the Death's Head.
It's the skull, or at least it should be.
Allow me.
What do you say to the third verse?
It describes the
We must read the...
The verse is not literal.
What do you...
It
We must...
The verse...
Can someone...
The third fragment mentioned...
Can some...
The third fragment mentioned a mountain vault
The mine entrance in the mountainside. That seems logical. I'll stand next to that fresco. Let's see if we can solve this. Take your places.
Count me out. I want to live.
As you will.
Take that. It should be the dragon con.
I shall take...
I think...
Allow me.
The verse describes... I'll stand next. Let's see. Take your place.
Count me out.
Assume. I expected a greater challenge.
A group of travelers wandering through the dark. 3 guides.
It should...
I shall...
Allow...
It's gotta... I'll stand. Let's see. Take your...
Count.
Assume.
I shall take...
Allow...
I'll stand.
Too bad about gas.
A group.
It should...
I shall...
Let's take your...
Count me.
Assume. We must try another combination.
It should...
I shall...
Allow...
The mine and... I'll stand. Let's take...
Count me.
Intruder detected.
No!
Such a shame. I actually found those two amusing.
A golem? So Darehenna's legend is true?
It is no more than an obedient machine created to follow orders and kill. Not unlike our Witcher.
So I guess we should get along famously.
You? What do you know about golems?
I don't run into them in every forest, but any good bestiary describes golems at length, and I've read more than my share of those.
Geralt, I'm not questioning your knowledge, but I should be the one to...
Actually, you are questioning my knowledge. Listen, I know what I'm doing. I'll try to get it to reveal the word that'll deactivate it, or I'll just mess with its head. Break the code.
So now we've got a burglar in our midst. Be my guest. Try.
My intentions are good.
As are mine. Know, however, that this may change.
Derhana must have been pretty lonely if he gave you eloquence.
The Master made me a guardian. Nothing less, nothing more. And you, provided you stand there, are a guest.
So you're aware you're an automaton?
Do we really know who we are, where we came from, and where we are headed? Is human life predictable in that the cycle of birth and death ensnares it? Better than mine. When a human is born, he is obedient to his parents. Later he listens to tutors, masters, corporals. Finally he succumbs to the will of death.
And to think that Adalbert questioned Derhana's mastery. You're far more self-aware than a typical golem. Can you make sovereign decisions?
The Master made me the way I am, because long discussions were to his liking. I can make decisions, within my program, of course.
So you decide who's a guest and who's an intruder?
Who else would? Guests chat innocuously, exerting no pressure. All others are intruders.
Has anyone tried to enter before?
I recall no intruders. I do, however, remember guests who left after being warned.
When was that? What did you discuss?
I am a machine. My memory is limited.
Who, if anyone, is allowed to pass?
Derhana, but he is dead. Also guests may pass, but I stop intruders.
Tell me more. Who's a guest and who's an intruder?
Is it not obvious? A guest keeps his distance, or knows the name word. An intruder is anyone who enters too far, attacks me, or otherwise interferes with my being.
I have other questions. Do you remember your creator?
Of course. I was summoned into being by Master Derhana. I abide by his will, by his power, by the necessity encased in my stone bowels.
Derhana is dead.
His word, which animates me, lives on, as does his legacy, which I protect. Empires will rise and fall, rivers will shift their courses, but I will remain obedient to one master on my eternal watch.
Derhana must have been an exceptional man. Can you tell me about him?
I guard everything that belonged to the master, including his privacy, which he valued highly. I can tell you nothing.
Can I ask you for the name word which brought you to life and which can deactivate you?
Do that, and I shall consider you an intruder.
I have other questions. Did your creator give you a name?
I'm called obedience and unyielding persistence. I am a guardian and the humblest of servants.
A golem's name is the word that gave it life, and that can take it away. You must have a name.
I own nothing. Everything belongs to my master. How could I divulge the name if I exist solely to protect my creator's property?
powerful magic created you, Derhena was a true master.
He is still, since his mastery survives.
Can we discuss the program that controls your behavior?
Of course not.
As a conscious being, you must be lonely here.
You are wrong. The pain of the world, melancholy, lies within the domain of emotions and feelings. My thoughts are governed by pure logic, restricted by my program.
But you can learn. They say that a penchant for philosophy can only come from curiosity.
In my case, it comes from the will of the Master, who liked to speak with me.
And do you feel a need to discuss?
I feel nothing. I just have that need.
I have other questions. All right, I think I know how to get past this thing without a fight.
Burglar witchers, philosopher golems, an expedition replete with fascinating discoveries.
And terrible disappointments. Shut up, Adelbear. And you, Witcher, deal with that golem.
We know you exist by the will of your master, thanks to the name word he gave you.
That is true.
You were created to discern intruders from guests. You are to stop the former and greet the latter.
Intruders must be stopped.
Are you aware that intruders may seek to deceive you?
I have stone fists to defend myself against those armed with swords. I have my iron logic to defend against those armed with words.
But intruders could include sorcerers who alter reality. They could be illusionists or mere liars. What then is certain?
My existence is certain, as is my master's will.
Since only you and the Master's legacy exist for certain, everything else is doubtful. A malicious intruder could cloud your senses.
I am the Guardian. The Master prepared me for that.
He couldn't foresee everything, so he gave you a mind to compensate. You're much more conscious and intelligent than a Guardian needs to be. Your Master says, greet guests and stop intruders. That is certain, but everything else can be a lie. And you cannot allow yourself to attack guests. That would be against your master's will.
Guests must be greeted, and intruders must be stopped. This is Derhena's will. Are you a guest or an intruder?
Doesn't matter what I answer. Your senses deceive you. You can trust only your mind. You can't assume I'm a guest, because I may be an intruder. You can't assume I'm an intruder, because I may be a guest.
This is a contradiction, a paradox. The law of excluded middle.
We've done it. We've penetrated Derhena's laboratory.
Let's have a look. This is better than I'd hoped.
A great success for Nilfgaard, this mission.
Maybe you'll get that promotion.
It's about the city's history. Derhena describes finding an important document about the Vrans. Derhena's notes from a trip he took to Zeracania. Dr. Anna mentions some bacteria strains.
Can you feel that?
My medallion's vibrating.
Another masking illusion. I'll try to disperse it. Later and Lorne. Lisa and Lorne. Later, dear!
The device. What is it?
You've done your job. You'll be paid and...
Paid like the scholars were? They died once they were no longer useful.
They were never useful, but Cynthia insisted. Fortunately, they were so kind as to remove themselves without my help.
I'm not about to be that kind.
Adelbert, you know what you're to look for.
Yes, Ma'am.
It's a prototype megascope. I didn't know it had survived.
What's it do?
The artifact detects an emotional bond with a person. Its user need only focus on that person and the device will establish a connection.
Great tool for a spy.
Yes.
Time you fulfilled your end of the bargain. What do you know about my past?
You were a rider of the Wild Hunt. I read the reports.
Don't the Nilfgaardians have anything better to do than write reports about witchers?
Not about witchers. About you. You are the sole person to have been a member of the host, and survived.
Anything else? Any detail you can give me would be useful.
Don't trust Letho.
You think I trust the people I hunt?
He's your foe today, but he wasn't always.
How do you know I knew Letho?
I've read...
The reports, I know. Why are you warning me about him?
Because I like you.
Is there anything to prove I was part of the Wild Hunt?
Nothing. Apart from the fact that Nilfgaardian intelligence agents are drawn and quartered for lying in their reports.
An enlightened nation indeed.
You haven't the faintest notion how many people are interested in you. Very important people.
Just because I survived?
You're a former rider of the hunt, and you live. You may be the key to solving the mystery of the retinue, and they all know that. You must watch out for yourself.
Let's say you've satisfied my curiosity.
Well then, consider me glad to have satisfied a witcher, whatever the way.
I was sure you'd try to cheat me. Gotta admit I was wrong.
You were sure, and you came with us anyway.
I was curious. I wanted to see what Nilfgaard was after.
Your payment. You were well worth the coin.
I wonder where we'll meet next. What it'll be like.
Who knows? Perhaps we'll be allies once more.
Wonder how many more will turn up.
Nothing special. Oh, be damned.
I'm Geralt.
Brass of Banard.
Seems we all...
Indeed.
On the...
Do you really?
But even...
Everything. The sword.
Somehow...
You
Yet.
Take care.
What you...
Just curious.
Yeah.